You need 15, 16, 17 players to all buy into what you're selling so that you can go ahead and potentially have a really remarkable treble season.
And here how it all stands in the title race after that one. 3 points clear Barcelona, 63 points they sit on, and now they're on the same amount of games because this was a game in hand for them after 28 matches over Real Madrid. Real Madrid host Leganés and Atleti are at Espanyol on Saturday. Let's focus on Barcelona. Some initial reaction. For them, I suppose it was all about getting the job done because I know they didn't, Rafinha wasn't even in the squad, Lewandowski was on the bench, but they did have players coming from all over in the international break, and this was just about, right, a group. Hansi Flick says, let's get back together and get 3 points and move on.
Yeah, I think the most important thing for Barcelona was actually getting the result. Sometimes you have to forget about the performance. They had 6 players who started that game coming back from international duty, so that impresses me enough. The fact that international players coming back, going straight into the starting 11 in a game that's been rescheduled for unfortunate reasons, and now all of a sudden you're asked to put a top-class performance out there and try to get the 3 points, which creates that gap now at the top of LaLiga. But mark my words, this was not necessarily just any type of performance from Barcelona. This was an exceptional performance, and sometimes coming from the individuals that don't get spoken about enough. Normally we've been speaking about Lamine Yamal. This time it was Ferran Torres with the performance. This time Dani Olmo for 25 minutes. Outstanding. Alejandro Balde on the left-hand side getting forward in that left fullback position. It was the players that sometimes don't necessarily get the recognition for their performance that stood out in a game like this. But when you're playing 2 games in quick succession, Adam, it's difficult mentally to approach those games because the first one you sort of approach, and I've been in that position before, you approach it like it's the first half of a game, and you can have that mentality of, if we mess up here, we've got a game on Sunday to recoup. Forget about it. This is about the LaLiga title. This game against an Osasuna side that themselves obviously have been scoring a lot of goals this season and pushing for a European place. So A-class performance as far as I'm concerned.
Ferran Torres stepped up to the plate, got the early goal, could have had another one with the free kick, had a few other chances as well, was involved in so much good play going forward. Looking into the future, do you think he is potentially a long-term replacement for Lewandowski when he eventually decides to retire or move on?
I feel like we're waiting for Ferran Torres to be the guy, right? And how many times have we said that about this guy? He's been obviously at Manchester City for a period of time. He had relatively good success while he was at Manchester City. He got himself, 16 goals and 43 appearances for the club, but he was never really the guy. We knew he was good. We knew he had potential. But then at Barcelona, obviously things have been a little bit different for him. 145 games now he's played at Barcelona and 38 goals to his name now is recognition that he's still got that quality. But he's getting up there now. He's 25 years old. He's been around for a minute. So when is going to be the opportunity for him to really take over that mantle and be the guy for Barcelona? The biggest problem I see is you can't stop Lewandowski from scoring goals. The guy's on the bench and you get your opportunity, you score a goal, but all of a sudden we're talking about Lewandowski's 23 goals now in La Liga this season as being the main man once again. He's not slowing down Lewandowski. So if I'm Ferran Torres, I'm asking for more opportunity to start from the beginning. How do you squeeze that in? How do you make that happen? It's difficult for Hansi Flick. He's got to try and keep the feet on the ground from a lot of these young players who are just simply and hungry and wanting to play.
But this season, it's not just Ferran Torres. We've seen it on multiple occasions. When these young players get the opportunity, invariably they step up in this Barcelona side.
They're outstanding to watch. I mean, Ferran Torres obviously has been one of those players that stepped up when needed. And of course, it's been sometimes cup competition. It's been during those games where you come back from the international break and you want to give a rest to players. So he's been pretty good. Obviously, 14 goals and 17 goals he's been involved with, 14 goals that he scored, 3 assists across all competitions. That's impressive, really impressive. But I still think that there are players who are really pushing to try and get into the starting 11, and Hansi Flick is trying to keep as many players as he possibly can happy and wants to play as many players as he possibly can so that they remain happy. Because between now and the end of the season, with Barcelona involved in multiple competitions, potentially going to have Copa del Rey success, Champions League success, now leading the top of La Liga, you need 15, 16, 17 players to all buy into what you're selling so that you can go ahead and potentially have a really remarkable treble season.
Because they've got the opportunity to win the treble, Real Madrid as well. If we just focus on Spanish football, there is a couple of other sides who could do it around Europe as well, win the treble this season. Do you think Barca are the best equipped to win the treble?
I think they're certainly set up for success, Barcelona. They've maybe been through a dip early on in the campaign where we thought Atletico Madrid were leading the campaign and then Real Madrid got back into it. Now Barcelona had a little bit of a gap to make up. Now they're leading La Liga. We're starting to recognise they're possibly the team to beat now and possibly will go on and win that La Liga title. Who's betting against them, going on and making it very difficult for Atleti in the Copa del Rey game? I wouldn't want to bet against Barcelona when it comes to Champions League either, but they brought a couple of stars off the bench and of course a goal scorer in Lewandowski. It's amazing to me, the quality they have in depth. So yes, I mean, there's a PSG that we're looking at that being probably the most informed team right now that are left in the Champions League, searching for that treble as well domestically.
Inter can do it in Italy as well, can't they?
Inter can do it as well. They're slowly starting to get going, but do they actually get there? That's the big question. PSG are there. Barcelona, they're there. So this, to me, is their treble to lose. They've got a real chance here.
Hansi Flick is navigating these choppy waters with Barcelona absolutely superbly, to use the sailor analogy. Is he the best manager in world football right now?
He's very much up there, and especially with the way his team is performing. This is a game that they could have gone into against Osasuna and slipped up. But the way he managed this game, obviously with the youngsters, very impressive. Xavi and then Yamal, Pedri, every single player looked like they were very, very good. The way he deals with the players, manages these players, it's almost as if he's that father figure. You know, he's won 33 of his 44 games in charge of Barcelona across all competitions. There's only been one coach who's had a better success rate, who's managed more than 10 games as Barcelona manager in history, and that was Luis Enrique. So he's got big shoes to fill, yes, but not many people are expecting or were expecting Barcelona to be in this position at the business end of the season. They're up for a treble, Adam. They're up for winning 3 trophies. I think they absolutely win La Liga title, no question about it. Now if they go and win Copa del Rey and you've got that magic moment in the Champions League final waiting for you, who's betting against Hansi Flick? He's one of the big reasons why everything right now that is being discussed with FC Barcelona is about what's happening on the field. No more noise about what's happening off the field. Finances, stadium, blah, blah, blah. Now the focus is about what they're doing on the field, because the product to me is looking beautiful and more so as we're getting to the business end of the campaign.
Hard to argue with that. I'm sure Real Madrid fans would have something to say, but they're going to have to do it, at least in the next few games, you'd think, without Dani Olmo. We don't know the full length and extent of the injury for him. It was a bit of a shame because it was a good performance. He obviously won the penalty, scored it at the second attempt. He's playing pretty well. And it lists a continuing issue for him. You mentioned the financial issues there and the club registration problems, missed 3 games because of that. He had a calf strain, missed 6 games, muscular problem at 8 games. He's now going to miss a few more. It's unfortunate for Dani Olmo because you kind of feel like this is a guy that just wants to play and keep performing.
Yeah, don't forget he also played 84 minutes in a massive game against the Netherlands, right? So very important to not forget he's just come back from international duty and only days later is thrown back into a massive game with big implications on the La Liga title. And he performed well for the 25 minutes. The work that's being asked of these players nowadays is just sometimes becoming too much, and not every player can live up to that. He's a player who's dealt with injury throughout his career. He's at 26 years old. He's been around multiple nations now, and of course started in Croatia. To me, he's the type of guy that you've got to protect a little bit more than others. He's only started 10 games this season. I know he's got 7 goals to his name, which is a remarkable statistic for only starting 10 games. But it's one that maybe you didn't know was going to happen. Hansi Flick, he got it right with his team selection. They were excellent. And Dani Olmo is one of the reasons why they got off to such a positive start. But you never know when these injuries start to appear. And it looked like it was a groin injury, which is something that can just happen out of nowhere. One false movement, all of a sudden you feel it. Let's protect the player, because between now and the end of the season, Adam, they've got work to do.
And as we both know, long term, once a player starts to get these injuries and they get a bit older and older, it doesn't go the other way. They tend to get more,
do they win the Liga?
Injury problems. I think they do. I agree with you. I think they will win La Liga, and they've obviously made a big step here because the pressure was on them to get the result against Osasuna. They're now 3 points clear of Real Madrid and quite a hefty way clear of Atletico Madrid as well. They've fallen away.